3I Atlas just shifted its orbit against gravity, raising serious concerns among scientists.
Before the noise of its discovery reached Earth, 3I Atlas had already rewritten a law of nature. Spectra showed nickel where there should be dust, metal where there should be ice, a Manhattan-sized visitor bleeding a human alloy in a place where industry does not exist. It wasn't a rival that unsettled scientists. It was recognition. Something out there was doing metallurgy in the dark, a city in the dark between worlds, in the deep, airless quiet between Mars and the Sun. Something the size of Manhattan is shedding metal. Astronomers first logged it as a fast mover, an interstellar object slicing into our system on a cold, efficient trajectory. They named it 3I Atlas, third known interstellar visitor, unbound to the Sun, not born here, not shaped here, not ours. It should have behaved like a comet. That was the expectation. That is always the expectation. A frozen body gets close to heat, ice is flashed to vapor, pressure builds, and the thing starts bleeding out in a curved, glowing tail that stretches away from the Sun like a banner. We've watched that performance all our lives. No one questioned the script. In late July, the Hubble Space Telescope tracked it and produced an image that made observers uncomfortable for reasons they could not immediately describe. There was no gorgeous sweeping tail being blown backward by solar radiation, no long white veil curling into space. Instead, there was a concentrated jet, a hard stream of expelled mass, firing in exactly the wrong direction. Rather than peeling away from the Sun, the flow of material was aimed toward it. That jet wasn't light and pretty. It was dense. According to the reported analysis, it carried roughly 330 pounds of material every second. Carbon dioxide, water, trace cyanide, nickel, no iron. It wasn't drifting behind 3I Atlas like a bridal train. It was almost like thrust. It was pointed. When the Keck 2 telescope in Hawaii got time on 3I Atlas in August, the data came back with something nobody had language ready for. Spectral work suggested that 3I Atlas was giving off nickel at about 4 grams per second. But again, no sign of iron riding with it. That ratio is wrong. In every normal comet ever studied, including the 2 known before 3I Atlas that came from outside the solar system, nickel and iron show up together in broadly comparable amounts. They are partners. They condense out of the same primordial furnaces. You do not get one without the other. This is where Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb stepped forward and said the quiet part out loud. He told the New York Post that the plume coming off 3I Atlas appears consistent with nickel tetracarbonyl, a highly specific nickel carbonyl compound that humans only ever see in industrial metal processing, including aerospace surface hardening. He didn't hedge. This was never observed for any other object, he said. This compound does not come from natural comet behavior, not from any comet on record. The alloy that shouldn't exist out here, nickel tetracarbonyl, should not be coming out of a comet. On Earth, this compound shows up in controlled conditions, high-pressure, carbon monoxide-rich environments where nickel binds with carbon and oxygen in a way that lets it be transported, deposited, used to plate or reinforce metal surfaces. It is toxic, volatile, engineered, and useful. It's part of how you make metal behave better under stress. Aerospace uses it because aerospace is unforgiving. Keck 2 reported the plume from 3I Atlas as containing nickel flow at about 4 grams per second. Steady, not a one-time spike. There was no matching signature for iron in that same outgassing. That absence is louder than it sounds. In comet physics, you don't forget iron. Nickel and iron are forged together in stellar cores and supernova ejecta. They condense into primitive rock and ice. They sit in deep time beside each other. Even in the 2 previous interstellar visitors, objects that, like 3I Atlas, were not born here, nickel and iron both rode out in the vapor as they heated. Comparable levels, natural siblings. 3I Atlas breaks that rule. To lose iron and keep nickel violently and cleanly, you need selectivity. You need a filter. You need process. That is why Loeb said what he said. He basically accused 3I Atlas of being manufactured without using the word manufactured.